Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is the first of two videos that I'm making about my time curating the We the Humanities Twitter account. In it, I share what I think worked well during my time curating the We the Humanities account and what I wish I'd done differently. We the Humanities is now in its second year. Essentially, it is a rotation curation Twitter feed, which means that a different humanities academic comes in each week and tweets about their research interests for 1 week. So let's get started by talking a little bit about what I did for We the Humanities. I picked 4 key topics: interdisciplinarity, public engagement, assessment in academia, and then finally academia and internationalism. So, what did I learn from curating these discussions that I want to pass on to other people? Well, the first thing is that I would really recommend that you use something like TweetDeck rather than just the ordinary Twitter interface. It becomes very difficult to keep track of all the different discussions that happen when multiple people are tweeting you at once. With TweetDeck, you can have multiple different columns operating at the same time, and you can very easily kind of collapse and expand the different threads of discussion that are going on. Second thing that I learned, which I'd be interested in passing on and maybe getting some feedback on, is whether there's any rhyme or reason to what discussions are popular and what aren't. Throughout the week, different questions and different discussions provoked more responses than others, and it was very difficult for me to work out whether this was because certain conversations were more popular than others, whether it was because certain times were more popular to tweet at than others, or whether it was because third parties got involved in the discussions and they brought all their followers into the discussion. In saying that, I do feel that I learned a couple of things which did help me foster more vibrant discussions. The first one of these things is scheduling tweets. There were certain times, such as lunchtime in the UK, so about 1 p.m, where the account was always active. And so I made a decision that if I wasn't going to be at my desk because I had a meeting or an appointment or something like that, that I would schedule a couple of questions at 1 o'clock. When I came back to my desk after my appointment at, say, 2 o'clock, there would be a lot of comments that had come in responding to those questions. I also scheduled a couple of tweets every night, and I found this really useful for getting people in the Southern Hemisphere involved in the discussion. Another thing that I did, which was quite useful, was schedule a Q&A at a fixed time with a hashtag. I did this for Thursday, 3 p.m, using the hashtag #VivaSurvivors. A lot of people turned up, and it was a really wonderful discussion with lots of people asking questions and sharing their opinions. So doing something like picking an hour and doing a designated Q&A with a hashtag is something that I would definitely recommend doing. And I was then able to storify that discussion. The final thing that I really got out of curating We the Humanities and that I'd want to pass on is to make sure that you stay flexible about what you're talking about. So for example, on Thursday, I plan to talk about my Viva. This conversation organically very quickly transitioned into a conversation about teaching and assessments for learning in the classroom. This was by far the most enthusiastically met conversation that I curated all week. And as such, I wasn't going to try and steer the conversation back into the topic of my Viva at that moment. It's important, I think, to stay flexible and to be willing to foster whatever comes up out of the questions that you initially prompt. Just to recap, from my experiences curating We the Humanities, I'd say there are a couple of things that I would recommend you do. Consider scheduling a conversation using a hashtag. Use a form of software like TweetDeck, which allows you to, for example, schedule tweets and expand and collapse individual discussions without losing your place in your live feed. Very clear about what you're going to talk about each day, and let people know the night before what you're going to talk about the next day. But at the same time, be willing to let the conversation develop in whatever way it organically does. And finally, be quite aware of what's going on when all of a sudden a discussion becomes very popular, and try and take note of whether you think it's a timing thing, it's about who's getting involved in the discussion, or whether it's actually just an inherently interesting topic, which maybe is standing out above from the other things that you were tweeting. And do share that information back with other curators, because I think kind of honing in on that is essential to the future success of the We the Humanities account. Thanks for watching my tips and tricks for curating We the Humanities. If you want to see the second video that I've made, follow the link here. Until next time guys, bye for now.